Woodlawn Mine Site Repurposing, Success Factors, Enablers and Challenges. Hi everyone. This project emerged from the Mining as a Temporary Land Use, Transitions and Repurposing scoping study from last year. This particular case study site was also chosen as there was the ability to visit the operation and interview staff on site, considerations in the current context of COVID-19. I also live less than an hour's drive from the operation. The case study serves as an example of an innovative and sustainable land use transition in an area once used solely for mining. Though this transition was not led or funded by the mining industry, it is a successful contemporary example offering multiple lessons for mining industry-led or funded repurposing. Starting from around the year 2000, part of the Woodlawn copper, lead and zinc mine in regional New South Wales was repurposed into a bioreactor and associated eco-precinct. The eco-precinct operates as a circular economy with the motto, "Let no waste be wasted," to the effect that the precinct undertakes waste separation, which entails conventional sorting and mechanical and biological sorting and composting, recycling, secondary raw materials are recycled, which are both organic and inorganic, and energy recovery in the form of bioenergy from the methane gas that the putrescible waste releases. This map gives some context to the location. The site is about 240 kilometres south of Sydney and about 80 to 90 k's northeast of Canberra. The following slides from the associated drawn from the Associated Interactive Operations Images pack that represent the evolution of the project. There'll also be an online resource along with the report. And here they are, and I reckon they're pretty funky. Okay, the two major anchor points that made the project viable in the first instance were the massive open void at 900 metres wide and more than 200 metres deep, and the proximity to the railway corridor linking the waste to the site. Also importantly, the mining company, Dennyhurst, had gone into receivership, leaving millions in unpaid wages and superannuation, little rehabilitation over a considerable mining footprint, and significant environmental issues, including acid mine drainage and the massive mine pit. Regulatory enablers included the New South Wales Waste Minimisation Act, the 2001 Waste Avoidance and Recovery Act, which introduced the waste landfill levy and has been progressively increased, plus the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA Waste Less, Recycle More initiative. The regulation and policy both act as strong incentives for councils to reduce waste. Several years after the first Waste Minimisation Act was introduced, the waste industry was privatised, creating considerable opportunity for industry and the establishment of public-private partnerships. Also, the company agreed to step in and pay out the mine workers' entitlements and to commit to rehabilitation of the site. As the media noted at the time, Colex, now Veolia, helped win over locals by offering to pay the miners' entitlements. The last 45% will be paid when the first load of rubbish arrives, end quote. When consent was granted in the year 2000, there were a range of EPA conditions that needed to be met for stakeholder consent, including the purchase of the surrounding farm, which has been a further opportunity for diversification of the operation. Though consent was initially granted in 2002 for the Clyde Transfer Terminal in Sydney, local residents formed the No Dump Residents Association Inc. and concertedly opposed it. There was subsequently 4 years of legal cases until final approvals were given. The use of the transfer terminal, the transfer of waste from truck to train, was an essential element in the project and also effectively removed and reduced the running distances of up to 60,000 waste truck movements on Sydney roads. The next stage was the generation of the biopower in the capture of the methane from the putrescible waste, which has been progressively installed from 2004. It has increased from a 1 megawatt in 2008 to 7 megawatts to a 7 megawatt system in 2019. This clean energy feeds into the grid and powers about 30,000 homes. The company also established the Eco Precinct Education Centre in 2004 and it now hosts around 2,500 visitors per year, made up of community groups, schools and universities. The Eco Precinct gets its credentials from diversification, which includes the wind farm and aquaculture. For the aquaculture, excess heat from the generators was available for use, and the company uses the waste heat to create optimal water conditions for fish farming. They now produce 3.5 tonnes of barramundi to supply the closely located Canberra market. The facility has also expanded to collect waste from the nearby Canberra and Goulburn regions. The Mechanical and Biological Treatment Facility, the MBT, was launched in 2017 and is the company's largest MBT globally. It's capable of processing 240,000 tonnes annually of putrescible waste into organic material to be used in on-site mine rehabilitation. However, it took 3 years to gain approval, which though opened in 2017 and operating, the output couldn't be used at that time. Veolia took its rehabilitation strategy forward to the New South Wales EPA, and its output was eventually given an exemption for use as a remediation material for the bioreactor in the pit to cap the landfill and other areas of the degraded mine site. Key learnings. Success factors include persistence. The first site in the Hunter Valley, chosen by the company, was rejected by community stakeholders, and there were several court cases, also as I mentioned, over the Sydney Intermodal Waste Transfer Station. Extensive investment in research and innovation to ensure leading edge in disruptive technologies. In 2018, the company, Veolia, spent more than $54 million in R&I as reinvestment. They also have a strong R&I governance framework. The establishment of public-private partnerships and interdependencies, as the New South Wales Government, through the Northern Sydney Waste Board, was a major stakeholder in the project from its inception. The regulatory enablers, including waste avoidance acts, high landfill levies and carbon reduction incentives, were fundamental in providing stimulus to both local councils and to the company. The circular economy. The shift from a linear to a circular economy to promote sustainability is well illustrated by the Woodlawn Eco Precinct. Veolia's motto, "Let no waste be wasted," directs their focus to ensuring that all energy and material produced on site is reused and repurposed. The integrated site now accepts 40% of Sydney's putrescible waste and, as mentioned, more recently waste from the surrounding regions as well. The facility began as a state significant development, an SSD. Some stakeholders believe that it's now evolved into an SSI, a state significant infrastructure, now providing essential services for New South Wales. I'll leave you with this final slide of all the operational infrastructure and the inputs into the Eco Precinct system. The associated report digs a little deeper into these success factors and the processes through which the facility evolved. Thank you very much.